for the hastening of the reappearance of our 12th Imam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والتم التسليم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا ومولانا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد, I would like to turn towards the Imam of our time with the warmest congratulations on this auspicious occasion of the birth of his grandfather, our Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And likewise, I also congratulate our Maraja and our Shia brothers, the Muslims, and the attendees of this majlis. I'd like to congratulate you on this really auspicious and holy occasion. When we look at the life of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, the life of Imam al-Baqir was a pivotal point during the course of the lives of our Ma'sumeen alayhim salam. It was the life of an Imam whose efforts led to a turning point in the course of history of the Shias. We today are referred to as Ja'fariyin. Our madhab is officially known as the Ja'fari madhab. And in essence, all madhahib are Ja'fari. However, we follow the teachings of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam especially. However, this name did not only come from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. This effort started with Imam al-Baqir in terms of distinguishing the Shiite bloc with the C, like a political group, distinguishing the Shiite bloc amongst the Muslim Ummah. What had happened is that Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, leading to our third Imam, when they saw what had happened in the course of history, because of the fact that they were extremely close to the era of the Holy Prophets, they were trying to bring people's attention and focus towards them, depending on that moral credit that they had, that love of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, which the Holy Prophet had ordered the Muslim Ummah to have. However, that failed. That was not enough. As a result, our Imam Husayn alayhi salam goes to Karbala with 2,000 in order to respond the letters of 18,000. Of course, 18,000 letters. Kufa was a big city at that time. However, on the day of Ashura, the Imam did not have more than 80 people with him. The Imam did not have more than that. So this failed. When Imam as-Sajjad alayhi salam returns back to Medina, our Imam says that there is not in Mecca and Medina 20 people who love us. There are not more than 20 people who love us. Of course, the Imam with this meant those 20 people who understand what Imamat means. Imam is a person whom it is obligatory for us to obey. He is the Ma'soom who has been appointed by Allah Azza wa Jal. He has Wilayat Takwiniya, Ilm al-Ghayb, ila akhirih. There were no more than 20 people who understood that. So as a result, from the time of Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam, this started to change. Their strategy changed. When Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam was still the Imam, what had happened is that a few years after the event of Karbala, Yazid himself died, and in extremely ambiguous circumstances. He had gone on a hunting trip to South Lebanon. Over there was a man. He was by himself. He was going after a game. He was going after a prey, Yazid. This man appeared all of a sudden. The horse that Yazid was on, it became frightened. He fell off it, and it kept on trampling him until it killed him. After that, the body of Yazid was never found. And that person, his family came to be known, Al-Jaffal family. And this family is still found in South Lebanon today. Jaffal means a person who scares the horse. So that family is still found. When Yazid passed away, his son Muawiyah bin Yazid became the caliph. Muawiyah bin Yazid was different. Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Holy Quran that he brings from the bad good children. وَيُخْرِجُ الْخَبِيثَ مِنَ الطَّيِّبِ وَيُخْرِجُ الطَّيِّبَ مِنَ الْخَبِيثِ. And he also brings out good progeny from bad people. Subhanallah, Muawiyah bin Yazid, regardless of the fact that his name was similar to the name of his grandfather, the person who had called all that shabr for Amir al-Mu'mineen and had assassinated both him and Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. This Muawiyah had a different heart. So he abdicated. That is to say, he gave away that rule. The Sufyani branch of Banu Umayyah, it came out of the scene. There was a second branch, the Marwani branch. The Marwani branch at that time, under the leadership of Marwan ibn al-Hakam, the cousin of Muawiyah. Marwan ibn al-Hakam, he fought and he worked in a really shrewd and cunning way in order to keep that hukum, that control under them. So in the beginning, he was facing a lot of opposition until in the end he was able to get that hukum, that control. Marwan ibn al-Hakam comes to power. However, he does not rule for a very long time. After that, he passes the rule down to his sons. These sons are the people who ruled during the imamat of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. I will name them. Sallallahu ala Muhammad. So the first person to rule was Al-Walid ibn Abdul Malik, Sulaiman bin Abdul Malik, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, Yazid ibn Abdul Malik, and Hisham bin Abdul Malik, during whose reign Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam was martyred. So our Imam alayhi salam, he was born in Medina on the Friday, according to some narrations on the 1st of Rajab, like tonight, in the year 57 AH. Others say that he was born on the 3rd of Safar. He was 4 years old during the Battle of Karbala, that is to say. And he also faced the same fate as the captives of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, like Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, faced. So there were 3 Imams present in Karbala, Imam al-Husayn, Imam al-Zain al-Abidin, and Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. Imam al-Baqir became the Imam in the year 95 AH, after the martyrdom of Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam, who was poisoned according to certain narrations by that Khalifa al-Walid, Walid ibn Abdul Malik, the first of the names that I quoted, of the 6 caliphs. Our Imam alayhi salam continued his imamah for 19 years, and he was martyred in the year 114 AH. Our Imam had many miracles. And there are many, many different stories, really beautiful stories when you look at the seerah of our Imam. Of course, today I will try to be more analytic in my lecture than just being informative in terms of the quantity of what we hear or what we read in normal books of seerah from the lives of our Imams. I'll mention one instance, which is that a person who was one of the Ashab al-Ijma', which is to say, the companions about whom there is a consensus between our fuqaha, our scholars of ilm al-rijal, the science of the narrators. These are those people whom they do not have any doubt about, and they were the best of the ashab. One of them was Abu Basir. Abu Basir, he goes to Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. He was called Abu Basir because of the fact that he was blind. So he was called the person who has sight, kind of out of respect, because he was a blind person. Abu Basir goes to Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. He tells him, "O Imam, are you not the inheritor of the knowledge of the Holy Prophet?" Imam says, "Yes, I am." And the Holy Prophet, was he not the inheritor of the knowledge of the prophets before him? He tells him, "Yes, he was." Of course. Then, does that mean that the Holy Prophet was able to, and you are also able to, give shafa and cure a leper or a blind person or bring someone back alive from the dead? He said, "Yes, we can." "Then please give me my sight back." So at that point, Imam alayhi salam puts his hand on the eyes of Abu Basir, and with the miracle, his sight comes back. At that point, Abu Basir, he all of a sudden could see everything. So he looked towards the skies, he looked towards the earth, he saw the creation of Allah Azza wa Jal. And he tells Abu Basir, "Oh Abu Basir, are you satisfied with this? Whereby if you keep your eyesight, you will have the same accountability like all other people who have vision, who can see. Or, if you wish, I can take back your eyesight, but then I can guarantee that you will have Al-Jannah for 100%. He said, "No, Imam, don't take my eyesight away. It's okay. Al-Jannah is more important to me." At that point, Abu Basir, he gives his eyesight. The Imam takes his eyesight again. This is one of the miracles of our Imam. Another miracle is that Imam As-Sadiq once narrates that our Imam Al-Baqir, that my father once told me that from my life, there are still 5 years more remaining. I'm still going to be alive for 5 other years. After that, I will pass away. Imam As-Sadiq says that I counted from that time, and truly, it turned out that the life of my father did not increase or exceed those 5 years, and it was not less than those 5 years. It was exactly 5 years. So at that we can come to find that the Imam alayhi salam also has one of the sciences of the hidden, of the ilm al-ghayb, which is called ilm al-manaya, the science of the times of death, the knowledge of the times of death of a person. This knowledge our Imam Ali alayhi salam also taught to Maytham al-Tammar. This is a science, this was a ilm, this was a kind of spiritual knowledge. Our Imam alayhi salam, he was known for his riaya, his taking care of the Shia. When you're a leader, you have to fulfill the needs of the people who come before you, the people who follow you. You can't just gain that legitimacy and that credibility as a leader, but whenever someone who follows you comes to you, and you can just, "No, I don't want to meet you, I'm not free." No. Some people used to come to the Imam and they used to visit him at a certain point of the year. At that, the Imam would order his servant, "Please bring me such and such stuff." So the Imam, the servant would come with pouches, 700 to 1,000 dirhams, and in addition to that, some clothes and some gifts. The Imam would tell that person, "We had prepared this for you from the beginning of the year, waiting for you to come." The Imam alayhi salam, he had a special view of what a Shia should be. What a Shia should be, what qualities he should have. Let us see if we have some of these qualities. Imam alayhi salam says that in terms of the Shias, who should be a Shia? He says that the Shia are those whereby a strong one of them, someone who has ability, all kinds of ability, scientific, social status, maybe economical ability, they should help the weak ones. The rich should be kind to the poor. It's not on my level. The man, both of the Shias, they should be loyal to each other, like a brother is loyal to his own brother. We should keep each other's secrets. No, that if I come to know that this person has a certain aib, has a certain secret, let me spread it so that everyone can come to know the true nature of this person. Imam Ali alayhi salam used to say that if I were to see 2 people committing a sin, I would cover them with my cloak. I would cover them with my cloak. This is that manifestation of the name of Allah, Sattar al-Uyub. Allah who covers the aibs and the faults of other people, of the people. Do not force people to follow us. Do not force people to follow us. If you want to do tabligh of our madhab, do it with your actions, not with your tongue. With your tongue, it's not necessary. Do it with your actions. Are you practicing what you're saying? Carefully consider our affair, which has been mentioned on our authority. With regards to wilaya, consider it really carefully. Understand what wilaya means. When there is a narration that comes from our 12th Imam, Ajjallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. That, all you people, all Shias, that with regards to the events that happen later on, refer to the narrators of our hadith That is to say, the ulama, the maraja in our terminology today. Because they are my proof, they are my hujjah, my authority over you. They have authority, I have given them authority. And I am the hujjah of Allah Azza wa Jal. This is our 12th Imam saying. Sometimes we find certain events that happen in our daily lives today. When one of our ulama, any person of our maraja, any individual gives a particular stance, we understand more. We live in England, bro. We understand stuff. These people living in those areas, they don't know what they're talking about. Are you sure about that? So this is understanding wilayah. The Imam has given them authority. Now, if you want to look at the life of our Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, first of all, you have to... Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. First of all, you have to look at the situation that the Imam was in. Then look at the plan and the strategy that he had in order to face the situation to take it to a better and a higher level. The Imam's time, it was as such. We see that during the time of our Imam, the Sufyani branch had fallen down. So the Marwani branch of Bani Umayyah had taken control of affairs. In addition to this, Marwan ibn al-Hakam, when he started, that Marwani about whose name we just mentioned right now, he started by fighting. So he had his followers, they started to fight against some of those who were still held onto the power in Egypt, in Sham, in Jordan, in order to oust those rulers who had remained, who were still loyal to the Sufyani branch, their own cousins. So they started to fight them. Blood was spilt until in the end he was able to take control, and he started to, of course, give the power to his sons. These sons, they were not all one hand. So you would find that between the brothers there were also feuds. Al-Walid was the first one. Now Al-Walid wanted to pass the power to his own children. Okay? But the other brothers, they wouldn't accept that. So when Walid was in power, Sulaiman, he goes and he starts to march an army against Al-Walid. When Sulaiman was in power, he also had other people going against his rule, against his bay'ah, annulling his bay'ah, his allegiance that they had given to him. So you find that the ruler of Khurasan, for example, saying that, no, I am the one in power now. You don't have anything to do with me. Khurasan was an extremely huge piece of land. It used to include the western part of Iran, Kazakhstan. It used to include Afghanistan. It used to even reach certain parts of Pakistan. That was Khurasan. Khurasan was extremely huge. So this guy says, no, I don't want to give you any power. I'm the one in power. So the situation was one of turmoil. This gave our Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam that freedom that he was in need of. What did the Imam alayhi salam do in order to change these matters? Or before answering this question, one or two points to be mentioned as well related to the situation. When these people were in power, they thought that if we do not occupy the masses of the ummah with certain things to occupy them, what's going to happen is that they are going to gather with each other and they are going to attack us, and we're still not strong enough. So what did they do? They started to cause and sow the seeds of certain forms of deviation from the path of Islam within the ummah. One of them, of course, was the deviation in terms of aqa'id. They started to give free passage and the freedom to different schools of thought, Islamic and non-Islamic, to work freely in the Islamic society. So you'd had many trends. Atheists from that time. A lot of this applies to us today, huh? You have Al-Murji'ah. Al-Murji'ah are the opposite of the Khawarij. Khawarij, what did they say? That a person who commits any sins, this person becomes a kafir, ma'adallah. On the other hand, these people said, no, he doesn't become a kafir, he remains a mu'min, but Allah Azza wa Jal, He is going to take care of his hisab. And they even went even further to say that, as long as you believe in Allah, look at how this applies to our world today. As long as you believe in Allah, It's okay. You can commit sins. It's not going to matter. You believe in Allah, it's enough. I ask you this, it's not applicable to our daily lives today. Have you not heard this in your life? Have you not heard this? Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam was working with this as well. You had certain trends of aqa'id, for example, al-mushabbiha or al-mujassima, who used to consider that Allah Azza wa Jal has a body. Allah Azza wa Jal is confined to time, to space, and many different trends of deviation. Secondly, you had the type of deviation which is the deviation of akhlaq. Look at this situation. They were occupying people with conquests, correct? When they occupy people with conquests, the Muslims, what is going to happen? There's going to be a lot of booty, war booty, correct? You're going to have a lot of riches and wealth and different sources that are going to become under the control of the Muslims. Lots of slaves. They are opening lands which have different religions and different cultures. They, the Muslims, did not have that immunity towards these. They were not properly taught. They did not have the answers to many shubuhat and many doubts. As a result, they were falling prey to this. So you would find during the time, especially of Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad, that the rulers in Sham, they used to bring singers, servants and slaves who were singers, men and women. Do you know which two cities were the main producers of these singers? It's a shame. It was Mecca and Medina. It was Mecca and Medina that used to produce most of these singers. They were spreading this. People were not practicing anymore. The principles of Islam were becoming lost. The political deviation was, as I was mentioning, economical deviation. The treasury of the Muslims had become like a personal bank account for these khulafa. For these rulers, I should say, not khulafa anymore, because they had turned the khilafah into a monarchy, which was inherited. So you would find that whatever he wants, whatever pleasures he's looking for, this particular ruler, he would spend all that is necessary in order to achieve it. They bought the most expensive of singers. They used to hold their own parties of munkar. This is what they were looking for. They used to bribe people. You know that was a tribal system in that world, correct? So they used to buy the head of each clan. They used to bribe them. They also use those people who kiss up to them, they used to give them. You know, poets, sometimes they would go over there and they would just flatter the ruler. How much money they would get in the millions. In our money today, they would get in the terms of millions of dollars. Just for saying a few words of flattery and poetry for these people. This was the situation that Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam was dealing with. He was dealing with the deviation of scientific principles. In the sciences of Islam, one of the things that they were sowing from that time is the school of fabrication of ahadith. They used to fabricate ahadith in such a way, in such a clever way. They used to try to bring the level of the Sahaba as the same level or even better than Ahlul Bayt. By Allah, today when you go and you speak to the brothers of Ahlul Sunnah, do you not find traces of this today? Yes, you do. They don't understand that scientific marja'iyat of Ahlul Bayt, that spiritual and moral marja'iyat of Ahlul Bayt. Why? Because this work was done a long time ago. These minds were washed from a very long time ago. So, in the Muslim society, you would find a narrator who was very pious, and he would narrate this hadith from pious people, fabricated hadith, mind you, from pious people, saying that, for example, my ashab are like the stars, that the best of my ummah are my ashab, and then the tabi'in, and then the tabi'in. The Holy Prophet did not say a single word of this. But it was made in such a way that the people did not even understand that this is a lie. They did not even understand that this is a lie. Qiyas, they used to consider that qiyas is acceptable. So as a result, If this is resembling this, then this should have exactly the same hukum today. Today, for example, I also find in our mentalities this qiyas has also trickled down. I do meet certain people during my trips of tabligh who say that, Maulana, don't you find that these marajas of ours, why should we give them the khums? Listen to this qiyas. Huh? I know how to deal with my own business, and I deal with my own business. No one else deals with my business affairs. And as they say, as similar to that, I also know how to give my khums money to people who are in need. So why should I give money to these marajas? This is the same qiyas. Because I know how to deal with my business affairs, that means I know how to deal with the khums affairs. There's a huge difference. You don't even have the authority, that hujjiyah, that giving the khums, ada of a khums, for it to be accepted or considered, for it to be considered that you have fulfilled your wajibat, you have to give it to the person who has that wikala from the Imam, who has that ijaza from our 12th Imam, ajallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Otherwise, your dhimma, otherwise your conscience, otherwise it is still wajib upon you. Even if you have given it to certain people, it is still wajib upon you. It's as if you have not given it to anyone. So this is one of the things that is very applicable to the time of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. What did the Imam do? What did Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam do in order to face this situation? The Imam divided his work, like any strategic leader, into 3 fronts. The first front was the front of the Ummah, the front of the Muslim Ummah, the general Ummah, the Ummah that did not understand what Imamat is. So, the second front is those special Ashab, the Shiite bloc, where they see, the Shiite group. The third was the political front, the front with the ruling party, the people who were governing in the name of Bani Umayyah. Let us look at these 3 and analyze them a little bit in order to see what lessons we can derive which are applicable to our lives today. But first, loud salawat. Our Imam alayhi salam, he started firstly with regards to the first front, the front of the Ummah, of the Muslim Ummah. He started first of all with the fikri, aqaidi reform related to our belief system. The Imam directly opposed certain groups which had deviated. For example, the Ghulat. The Ghulat, at that point, they were led by Al-Mughira bin Sa'id al-Ijli. This person, Al-Mughali, who would say that Ma'adallah, the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam, they are a manifestation of Allah Azza wa Jal in a human being. Ma'adallah, that is impossible. So the Imam, in order for it not to cause confusion among the Muslims, he immediately said that, may Allah Azza wa Jal curse this human being, because he was ascribing lies to us and we are not the creator. It's impossible. Immediately making things very clear, facing them. Not to have a gray space when you have to have a certain clear stance. This is the first lesson we should learn from our Imam alayhi salam. Secondly, the Imam also had dialogues. It is not that he had only stances from far away with regards to these deviated groups. No. There were certain heads of certain deviated groups. He used to have dialogues and debates with them in front of the people. Today, when you want to do tabligh with the person, don't go and have a debate and a discussion with the layman, with a normal person. He does not know his belief system properly. If a debate has to be proper and scientific and healthy and fruitful, it should be between an alim and an alim. You sit and watch. This is how it should be. So our Imam used to directly go. Why? Because it is the easiest way to achieve the results. When you beat this person, when you defeat them and you show the truthfulness, the haqqaniyat of the madhab of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and that whatever he does not know what he's saying, immediately this will trickle onto his base, the people who follow him. They will quickly be affected. Secondly, the Imam went out to those opposing khulafa, the mukhalifin khulafa, who used to oppose the fiqh of Ahlul Bayt. They were very, very cunning. They would attend some of the classes of the Imam and Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, but then they would go and apply the opposite. So the Imam alayhi salam would go to the likes of Abu Hanifa, and you would have debates with him, especially with regards to qiyas, especially with regards to giving fatwa by opinion. In my opinion, this is halal. Many people used to do that. And unfortunately, this was made as one of the principles in the usul al-fiqh of Ahl Sunnah, that the Sahaba or the Tabi'een or the Tabi'een, they have the authority to have their own opinions in fiqh, even if it may go against the opinion of the Holy Quran or the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet. And this had happened many times in the course of history. Now, the madhahib of Ahl Sunnah, they have been restricted to these four. Do you know why? Do you know what the cause is? They did not only have four, they had hundreds. There were hundreds of fiqh madhahib among the Ahl Sunnah. But they were restricted to this four after things went out of control. This person will say that no, it is halal to perform wudu with wine, ma'adallah. Another person would say that it is halal to finish your salat either with tashahhud or either by releasing wind. Things had gotten out of control. As a result, they restricted, because of the fact that they wanted to keep on to that legitimacy, that people would not mock them, make fun out of them. So they restricted them to these four madhahib. Our Imam made sure that people had to know that ijtihad, after learning the principles of fiqh and usul al-fiqh and narrations, the door of ijtihad has to be open. As a result, the Imam trained certain people among his ashab to be fuqaha. Today in our school, in our science of rijal, ilm al-rijal, these people are known as fuqaha. For example, Zurara bin A'yun al-Shibani, one of the grandest of ashab. Zurara was known to be a faqih. At that, the Imam used to tell him, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam used to tell him, I like it for you to sit in this mosque of the Holy Prophet and for you to give fatwa. I like it to be known that you're amongst my students. Zurara. So the Imam had debates with these people. In addition, the fruits of Imam as-Sajjad alayhi salam, they had borne their benefit. The seeds of the efforts of Imam as-Sajjad, they had borne fruit during the time of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. Imam as-Sajjad was an Imam in a very, very serious period of history where there was a lot of security surveillance over the Imam. He was really kept in a tight spot. What did he do? He followed, of course this is for a different lecture, but he followed certain approaches. He worked in certain way that he wanted the fruits of that to ripen during the times of the Imams to follow. That is to say, Imam al-Baqir, Imam al-Sajjad, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, and the Imams afterwards. So his companions or his servants whom he used to free, they later on became the ashab of Imamain al-Sadiqain alayhim as-salam. That is al-Baqir, Imam al-Sadiq. One of them then is the likes of Zurara. The Imam alayhi salam, he came to be known now. These few thousand ashab of Imam as-Sajjad alayhi salam who truly knew what the Imam was, some of them had spread out to the entire Islamic world. What would happen? These people would then come to Medina. They know that Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, Imam al-Baqir, he is a person of knowledge, who has knowledge. So when Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam used to enter the mosque, you would find all of them flocking around the Imam alayhi salam. When the Imam would speak, he would speak that which he wanted to teach them. Sometimes it would turn into a question-answer session. So they would ask Imam questions related to all fields of knowledge, and the Imam would answer them. The maqbuliyah, the acceptance, the legitimacy, the love, and that spiritual or moral position of the Imam in the hearts of the Muslims reached such a stage that when the Imam al-Baqir used to go to Hajj from Medina, all of a sudden you would find that the people, they give him way. Whereas the Khalifa of that time, Hisham ibn Abdul Malik, when he used to go to Bayt al-Haram in order to try to touch the Hajar al-Aswad, people, he would not find a way. That was a situation. My dear brothers and sisters, don't think that we, the Shias, are a minority. Right now, we may be a minority, but we were not always a minority. During the later times of Imam al-Kadhim, Imam Rida alayhi salam, we Shias were the majority of the Muslim world. We became a minority after persecution and after assassination and killings. Like it's continuing today. We were a majority. During the time of Imamain as-Sadiqain alayhim as-salam, we were the majority in Hijaz. In today, modern day Saudi Arabia, we were the majority. Political reform. I'll focus on two principles. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, he focused on the fact that the people, you should not leave aside Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar. Let us learn this in our lives today. When you see that there is something wrong being done, even by the oppressing zalim, and you are afraid of his power or of his oppression, you have to speak up, especially the ulama. You have to speak up. You should not remain quiet. Secondly, the Imam also focused on the fuqaha of those times. Regards to political reform. You know, the situation was so funny at some times that these people, they call them the ulama of the palace, they used to give around fatwa just to please the ruling person, the ruling party. One of them was the fact that khulafa, when they fight amongst each other, the rulers, when they fight amongst each other, they kill each other, there is no accountability for them. Allah Azza wa Jal forgives them. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. What about these ayat? That he who kills a human being is as if he's killed the entire humanity. No, they give them fatwa. And these people, these fuqaha of the bilad, of the palace, they were giving legitimacy to these kind of khulafa and these kind of people. So the Imam, he was trying to expose the true face of Banu Umayyah. He was trying to create this awareness among the people. When this awareness was spreading, that was when the Umayyads started to feel the heat of those flames. Finding people now, they are aware, they are starting to speak up against us. People are talking about who the true khulafa are, because Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, thereafter, after founding a proper strong base, he started to speak up and say that we Ahl al-Bayt, we are the people who legitimately have the authority to rule. It is us who are the Imams. These are the qualities that a ruler should have. He should be a pious, knowledgeable person, etc., etc., all of the characteristics, and that is who we are. Once Imamain al-Sadiqain alayhim salam, al-Baqir and Imam al-Sadiq, sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The Imam alayhi salam, they went to Hajj. They went to Hajj. Hisham ibn Abdul Malik, he was also in Hajj during that time. So the Imam tells Imam al-Sadiq, his young son, that, oh Ja'far, go and tell them. So the Imam alayhi salam goes. During the Hajj season, he stands up and he gives a lecture that, oh people, the person who should rule should be 1, 2, 3. The followers and the successors of the Holy Prophet are people who have these characteristics. And these are us. You should be following us. And that Khalifa is over there. Imagine the level that the Imams had taken the situation to. That they were openly saying that. This is me. It is the Imam. That is me who is the Imam. The Imam alayhi salam, there were certain uprisings that were happening. Imam Bain al-Baqir al-Sadiqain alayhi salam, they were extremely clever. Because they were taking things that were related to, they were taking goals that are related to the long term into consideration. It was very simple for them to just say, okay, these are our swords, we have unsheathed them and we're going to fight. But no, they had to found a proper base of Muslims that understood what the concept of wilayah is. And they were nurturing them with knowledge. At this point, you had some uprisings that were happening. The Imams remained neutral, apparently. Not neutral truly, but apparently. They were not going into direct armed opposition against the ruling party, because they were trying to remain alive in order to spread this knowledge of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, because that was necessary. As a result, those khulafa, they left them for a certain period of time, and the Imams, they remained neutral. So for example, one of these uprisings was the uprising of the Khawarij. The Imam remained neutral. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, for instance, when the Shias were getting extremely angry, he would tell them, remain calm right now. My brother Zayd ibn Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam, Zayd bin Ali, he is going to uprise after a certain period of time. You should wait for him and be among those who support him. Of course, Zayd, not many people supported him and he was martyred. Even Zayd himself, the Imam was telling him, calm down right now. Right now is not the time to do that. The Imam guided him. Maybe I think that my time has become quite short. I will just focus on the special front. Maybe I won't have time for the political front, but the special, which is the Shias themselves. What are the goals for us, the Shias, that Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam was trying to make us Shias for? What did he want? See, Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, he was focusing on, this time he was focusing on building a block of people who would be the intermediary between Ahl al-Bayt as a leadership, and the Muslim Ummah itself. He was trying to make these people an intermediary. What would they do? They would know the message of Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam, true Islam, the Islam of the Holy Prophet. They would present this message vocally, verbally, practically, and they would introduce the people to who truly Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam were. That these were the true people who deserved to be in authority and to rule us and to guide us. These were the true leaders. At that point, of course, like I've mentioned, that the maturity of the Shiite bloc after Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam had reached to that stage that now they know, they truly came to understand that this is an Imam. So whenever they were going to the mosque, to Masjid al-Nabi, they were bold enough to enter and to speak with the Imam alayhi salam. To the extent that even Hisham, again in a third instance, once he went again to Hijaz and he was asked by a person that, who is that person over there? Everyone is flocking towards him, they're leaving you, but they should come to you. You are the, God forbid, you are the Khalifa of the Holy Prophet, correct? So he would tell them that that is the Prophet of the people of Kufa. That is the Prophet of Kufa. Okay? Trying to ridicule. But that is the Prophet of the people of Kufa. And go and ask him a question. See if he does not know the answer to that question. Go and ask him anything you want. He is truly a knowledgeable person. Of course, in many other instances, Hisham, he truly found that the tables were turned against him once even, because the freedom that Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam enjoyed, it was until the beginning of the Khilafat of Hisham. Hisham was the worst of his brothers. Hisham was the worst of his brothers, and it was during his time that Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam was martyred. So he even brought Imamain al-Sadiqain to Sham, and he imprisoned them over there. He imprisoned them over there. The Imams alayhim salam, they turned the situation in the prison just like Nabi Yusuf. If you watched that series of Nabi Yusuf, exactly the same way or even more. In addition to that, the fact that Imam was an alim, it was known to all. So the Imam alayhi salam, he also had debates with some of the Christian priests, and he would defeat them and break them. As a result, Hisham starting to fear that my capital, Sham, which I have total control over, I'm feeling that things are getting out of control. So he immediately removed him out of prison. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, in terms of the Shiite bloc, we should focus on the goals, first of all. The general goals of the Shiite, of building the Shiite bloc, were the fact, firstly, like I mentioned, it has to be an intermediary. Secondly is that this group, they had to work in order to prevent any distortion from happening with regards to the Sharia. You know that there is a lot of distortion that happened, a lot of different fatwas that were issued, a lot of fabricated ahadith, a lot of different forms of aqaid. The Imam alayhi salam had to focus that there has to be a group of people who understand everything properly, and these have to also face those different trends. It should not only be the Imam who has to face them. So the first thing that the Imams did is that the Imams formed a group of elite cadres, of elite. You want to work administrationally and strategically, you have to have a base. The first base is those people who are directly under you, correct? So the Imam formed a group of people like Zurara, like the other ashab, who were specialized in their own fields. Everyone was specialized. This is in ilm al-kalam, that is to say in theology, this person in ilm al-aqaid, this person in fiqh, this person in history. Everyone was specialized, this person in tafsir of the Holy Quran. So the Imam formed them in this way. Secondly, the principle of ijtihad, it had to remain open. Thirdly, the fact that the narrations had to be written. If you look at some of the series today that you may find on YouTube, you find that the ashab, they used to come to the Imam, they used to bring their camel skins with them, those scrolls, and they used to write down. The Imam used to give a hadith on different topics, and they used to write them down. They used to write them down. After that, the first person to separate and to put each hadith in its own chapter, it was the Sheikh al-Kulayni in the book Al-Kafi. So the Imam focused on this. Why? Because during the caliphate of the second caliph, what did they say? We should not write down any of the hadith of the Holy Prophet, correct? So they had that distance from the time of the Holy Prophet. And when there was that vacuum that was created, that was when they found themselves in need of creating their own opinions to fill that vacuum. But we, alhamdulillah, we had our own narrations. The Imams told their ashab that you write down our narrations in your books and take care of your books because you will need them. These are what are called today the 400 main scrolls. A lot of our ahkam or our hadith, they are from these 400 main scrolls written by different companions of the Imams, alayhim as-salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Another goal is the goal of Islamic unity. Islamic unity. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam was extremely attentive to this matter. That he did not want the Shias to be a group that had hatred and animosity towards the other Muslims. He wanted you and me to be an intermediary to spread that message of Ahlul Bayt. So when you have people sitting on your pulpit sometimes and giving you majalis of only la'an, know that this is not what the Imam wanted. And these people have not understood truly the message of our Imams. Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam used to say that go and visit their sick, meaning the Ahl Sunnah, and take part in their janazas. Be good to them, because I would like it for one of you to have good manners and for them to say, look at how Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam has raised and reared, educated his Shia. May Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy on Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam. This is what Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam wanted our Imams. This was their message. So this is something that is applicable today. Role models. When you want to spread your message, one of the things that Allah Azza wa Jal, He truly understands from human psychology is that speaking a lot, it does not have that effect. Actions, uswa, and exemplary, that is what is necessary. So each Nabi, he was also a teacher, but he was also an example. As a result, the Imam created ashab among the Shias who had the best of akhlaq, who used to help people, and they were spread around the Islamic world. Slowly they were attracting the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam in the hearts of the Muslims. So if you want to be today a true Shiite, you should have this love of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam in our hearts. Of course, this particular topic is an extremely long topic, and unfortunately our time is almost reaching the end. But I would like to mention just one more point. I mentioned that the Imam focused on building a cadre, or that is to say a group of people who would be the leading elite who are working directly as assistants of the Imam. Our communities today, there is something that not all communities have understood, and they're not applying it. For you to run a community, for you to run a center, there are certain specializations that you need to have. You have to, for example, you are in the council that is elected to run a particular center. You need to have those specializations, those administrational skills. There are certain things that you need to properly learn. You need to have marketing skills. You need to have, for example, strategic goals. Okay, during this time, I want to fulfill 1, 2, 3. Now, your strategic goals should not be only a continuation of what situation that you are, because that is just a repetition and there is no need for that. A repetition, but with a different molding, with the different kinds of clothes. No. That's not what is necessary. Otherwise, the Imam will remain ghaib. He will remain in ghaibah. That is not what we are in need of today. If you truly want your life to be counted, with a special number, as something really special, during these 1,000, almost 200 years of the ghaibah of the Imam, you have to work in a different way. Otherwise, all of our forefathers before, they left this dunya, and the Imam did not reappear. We have to think about it. We have to change. So you need to have all of these specializations. One of the things is that ayah of al-nafir. That in every community, and I truly call this, we in the UK and all different parts of, especially the Western world, we find that we have a lack of ulama, of scholars, of Hawza students. I believe that each center, and I call towards all of the communities, of course, each center should have, and they should choose a group of people, 1, 2, 3 students where possible. They should train them. They should help them go to the Hawza. They should sponsor them so that when they come back, they know they are from your community. They know the way of thinking, your mentality. They know the problems that you have. They're well known. They have firm ties to all the families. Correct? This is a really good thing that some of the Jamaats in Madagascar are doing. A really good thing that they have sent a group of students from their community to the Hawza to study. Secondly, and finally, this is my final point, is the point of Mahdawiyat. From the time of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala the notion of Mahdawiyat, that we have a Qa'im, Ali Muhammad, that we have an Imam al-Mahdi who is going to uprise in the end and restore justice to everything. This notion was always there. Okay? He used to instill this in their ashab from that time. There are many narrations from Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam about this. One of them is this following, that when our Qa'im, meaning the 12th Imam, arises in our Mahdi, appears a single man, that is to say, one of us will have the courage of a lion, and they will be sharper than a spear. Okay? Amda min as-sinan. So we will have that. He was instilling this feeling or this spirit of sacrifice from that time. I will leave you with one question. My dear brothers and sisters, you've all known how the Jews and the Zionists, they planned for the state of Israel. Correct? Let us be extremely objective about this now. Objective. Okay? Let us study it in a perspective of social sciences. They started many hundreds of years ago. They had groups of elites. They had strategic planners, correct? Meeting every now and then, whether in Russia or in other places, in other European places. Planning, having a general strategy, short, medium, long-term goals that they were looking to achieve in order to bring about their zuhur, their state of Israel. Have we as Shias thought about that for our Imam alayhi salam? For our 12th Imam? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. To truly work in a strategic, scientific way, to look at the factors that have led to the ghaibah of the Imam, how they prepared us for the ghaibah in order to achieve the goals of the ghaibah that they wanted us to achieve, in order to create those circumstances that will allow the Imam to appear again, and properly having a global Shiite strategy for that. Have we thought about that? As long as we sit, go to mosques, drink chai, have khichro, go back home, and we don't have that concern, what is my Imam doing today? My Imam has not appeared this Friday. As long as we don't have that fire burning in us, in our hearts, And know that you've forgotten your Imam. You've forgotten your Imam. This is one lesson we can learn from our Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. So from that time, they were working for this Mahdi. At that, I end again with seeking and praying for Allah Azza wa Jal to grant us the blessings and the tawfiq to be able to fulfill those goals of tashayyu' that our Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam wanted us to have and to achieve those characteristics so that we can truly pave the way for the reappearance of our 12th Imam and be among his companions. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.